From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.
Good morning. This is Craig Allison with your Morning Pulse for Monday, January 5th. Before we get into our stories this morning, we'll just give you the question of the day. Nearly half of Gen Zers say they usually do this every 2 to 4 days, even when they should do it more often. What is it? Answer this morning was wash the dishes. None of our viewers or us in the morning crew got that, but if you want to participate in future questions of the day, you can head over to our 1011 Facebook page, put your answer right there in the comments, and we'll share some of those during our morning newscast, and then the answer right at the end of our morning newscast. Well, that being said, we're going to now head over to our headlines, starting off on the national side. Today, former Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro and his wife are expected to be arraigned in a New York courtroom on narco-terrorism-related charges. The two were captured during a military operation in Venezuela and transported to the U.S. over the weekend. President Trump has now faced questions over who's running Venezuela, and Venezuela's new interim president, former Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, issued a statement calling for peaceful coexistence. Trump says, quote, she's cooperating, though in an interview with The Atlantic, he also warned, quote, if she doesn't do what's right, she's going to pay a very big price, probably bigger than Maduro. Multiple sources familiar with CBS tell CBS that White House officials are expected to give a classified briefing to lawmakers later this afternoon. Dozens of Venezuelans and Cubans were killed in the operation over the weekend, and multiple U.S. service members were wounded. President Trump last night said he had calls into them, adding, quote, they're all in good shape. Second story, and back to the local headlines. Governor Jim Pillen will present this year's annual state threat assessment. The report is a product of the Committee on Pacific Conflict, made up of 11 members, including our state's Director of Homeland Security. Gives a look at substantial national security threats posed to Nebraska, as well as a summary of other non-confidential findings by the committee. The governor will be joined by Lieutenant Governor Joe Kelly and Adjutant General Craig Strong in presenting the report at 8:30 this morning, so be sure to stick with us as that's happening later on soon this morning. You can keep up with that on our 1011 Now News app. Your third story, we're still gathering more details about a house fire that happened yesterday afternoon in East Lincoln. This was the scene near 60th and Holdred Streets just before 3:30 p.m. Crew said the fire was in the basement, and LFR says everyone inside, including pets, all evacuated safely, and the fire was under control within half an hour. Damage estimates are still being assessed, and the investigation into what caused the fire is still underway. Your fourth story, another fire. We now know more information regarding the fire that happened in downtown Beatrice from Saturday. This is the scene from early Saturday morning at the Black Crow restaurant. 2 other buildings also suffered smoke damage. Crews arrived on scene just after 8 a.m. and contained it after a little more than an hour. Beatrice Fire and Rescue say this fire caused around $100,000 in damage. The investigation shows no working smoke detectors were inside, but fortunately no injuries have been reported. The cause of this fire is also still under investigation. Switching on over to sports, Nebraska may have its starting quarterback for the 2026 season. Huskers added Kenny Minchey from the transfer portal. He joins the Huskers from Notre Dame. Minchey appeared in 6 of games last season, completing 20 of 26 pass attempts for 196 yards. He was the Irish's backup QB, and Minchey appeared to be the Huskers' top target at the quarterback in the transfer portal. He'll compete with returner TJ Lateef for the starting job here at Nebraska. Lateef started the final 4 games of the season, including the Las Vegas Bowl. So we'll have to see how that shapes up. Be sure to stick with us from our 1011 Sports Department as that develops. And wrapping things up with your final story, there may not be much snow on the ground as of late this winter, but at places like the rail yard, it's at least still cold enough for ice at the city's only outdoor ice skating rink. Rink is now at about its halfway mark of the season, and people still have about another month to sharpen their skating skills at the downtown Lincoln Staple. Manager says the consistent warmer weather this season has made business boom.
When it's cold out, people want to go ice skating, but when it's really nice out, people really want to go ice skating. Just going into the first month, we're finishing up, we've doubled what we did the first month of last year, both in transactions and customers. We sell hot cocoa. We've sold more hot cocoa than we did last year. So it's really just taken off this year.
So there you have it. Make sure you head out there while you still can. Now, it's not just the rail yard that has benefited from the successful year, but the entire street. Tilson also runs the Mellow Mushroom across from the rink and says he's seen a steady line of people stopping in for a post-skate meal. So just be sure you head on over. Sorry, I hit the mic there. Just be sure you head on over to the rail yard before things close up. But it is certainly booming over there and certainly lively. That's going to be your morning pulse for this Monday morning. And we'll wrap things up with a look at your 7-day forecast before we toss things over to Brandon Rector.
Good Monday morning, meteorologist Brandon Rector with you in the 1011 Severe Weather Center. It is going to be mostly cloudy this morning, and then we'll decrease the clouds from the west to the east as we go through the afternoon. So much of the afternoon in the western third of the state is likely to be mostly sunny, but much of the eastern third is going to be mostly cloudy. Maybe not clearing those clouds completely in eastern Nebraska until early this evening. Temperatures at noon are going to be in the 40s and 50s. By 4, we range from the mid-40s to low 60s. So for many of us, it's going to be another seasonably mild, if not seasonably warm day. By 8 this evening, we'll be in the mid-30s to mid-40s. In Lincoln for today, warming up from the upper 20s this morning to the mid-50s this afternoon. Almost 20 degrees above average for this time of the year.
From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.